Hey guys, just waiting for Finn to join us. We're going to be chatting to Delaire the Liar tonight about kind of their history with Not Punk Enough and then on to Locked for a Reason and Shovel. So hopefully we'll have some nice questions. If you have any questions, throw them in the description comments for now. And yeah, we'll have a nice chat. Oh, it's loading now.
Hey!
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 How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. Joining on. So first of all, I know you guys on a Monday have your own drinking game with your fans, don't you?
Yeah, well, it wasn't really my idea, but it became quickly obvious that my affection towards a particular pedal, yeah, and that was just kind of like picked up on, and now every time I say fuzz pedal, the idea is to just drink beer or whatever you have. Just get to where you need to be. Yeah.
Do you want to play fuzz pedal while we're doing this interview?
Fucking absolutely.
Let's have some fun. We're all stuck in lockdown.
Okay, right, yeah, sick. So who's saying it first? Wait, we've already said it twice.
Cheers to that then.
Cheers.
Nice one.
Delicious.
So let's pick your brains about some music and all that jazz then.
Yeah, come on in. Pick away.
Pick away. Okay, so you've brought us two brilliant singles lately. Obviously, the first one being Shovel. Do you want to talk us through it a little bit?
Yeah, Shovel. So obviously, like, Shovel was the first song we released since the kind of like the lineup change and like Joey's departure and stuff, and it was like a really nerve-wracking moment for the band. It was like, it was like we continue, and like we have like yeah, it was there was a lot of anxiety around the whole thing, but it was received really well, and like we were really kind of appreciative of all of that, and it's continued like into the kind of like the locked segue. It's just been like it's been really nice, been a really nice time. But Shovel specifically is quite an aggressive song, I think, which in no way like reflects anything that happened prior. It's just punk music, my dude.
Yeah,
So,
true.
yeah, I mean, in terms of its kind of like lyrical content and stuff, I think uh yeah, it's kind of about seeing people that you spend like a lot of time with kind of maybe start to adopt qualities that you recognize in yourself, and you have never wanted anyone else to see, but there are certain things that you can't hide or you can't change about yourself, but when you see how it starts to affect the people around you, you start to be more reflective and a little bit more kind of like embarrassed and like reserved. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of lyrics that kind of testify that point, but but yeah,
So
that's
this
kind of
is
like what the song's about.
this is the first thing we sort of heard as this full band Delaire. And I remember in the last interview we did with you guys was the chapter and verse show, and
Yeah.
you said some people tell us we need a bassist, but we'll never have a bassist. So obviously times have changed.
Well, I think the thing is that it was more that we didn't ever want to bring someone in that might compromise the way that me and Joey work together. Like, there was no point. There was a lot of people telling us that we needed to change, and we were like, but if that's not how we feel comfortable creating, then that's not how we're going to do it. And
Yeah.
we're going to try and find a way to kind of like arc around that. And then obviously with Joey taking a step back from the band and just to take care of himself and all of that, it almost felt disingenuous to just try and replicate the same two-piece dynamic with someone else. Like, so the whole thing had to change, So like,
Yeah.
it no longer, because me just trying to pretend that like, this new person is like my total like best friend. People are like, who is Joe? I don't even know who that is. That would
Yeah.
be like really disingenuous and not the point. So now even though it's under the same moniker, like it had to shape. The whole thing had to change in the way that it kind of worked together. Um, and yeah, and you know, we met like a couple of months prior at a show we played with Luke Rainsford, and me and her really like clicked, and I was just like, fuck it, if this is going to change, like, let's go all in.
Nice.
Let's get some bass tones, because although I know I kind of like I kick back hard, like when it comes to people telling me that I should do something differently, I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm going to do this like my way. No,
My way or the highway.
no, yeah, exactly. But and I know I've talked a lot of shit about bass in the past, but I actually do really like it, and I played bass in a band for so long, and I do actually really appreciate like bass tone. So it is nice to have like an element of that rather than like solely relying on like live triggered samples and stuff like that. It's a super nice element, and what M brings to the table, like as a musician, is fucking invaluable as well. So yeah, although I know what you get.
No, we love M.
we love M, but it would have felt weird to just try and just replace Joey, because our relationship was so kind of like personal and such like a major point in the band. Just having like another drummer would have been, yeah, it just would have felt weird. So we've gone a different way, and now who knows where it's going to go?
Who knows? I guess this kind of gives you now more creativity and freedom as a songwriter, though, as well, because you know you can layer to be able to play it live, whereas before you kind of relied on your pedals.
Pedals.
Skimming around
pedal?
it.
Which pedal?
Which pedal?
First pedal!
So you kind of relied on your pedals live, and now you've got a new dynamic and a bigger sound. So do you think that gives you more creativity and freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially like vocally, like normally we have like quite a lot of fun, or historically I've had quite a lot of fun like layering a lot of harmonies and like call and response and stuff. And now we can do all of that live because M and Chaz are both like fantastic singers. So it means we can get like so many more kind of like layers into our actual live sound, rather than just me hopping between like different vocal lines that I've written, which kind of renders the initial melody a little inconsistent. Like my dad has always said to me, he was just like, you write good hooks, son, stick to him. And I'm like, cheers, Dad. But sometimes I just like jumping like between like different harmonies and stuff like that whilst I'm playing. But now it means that it serves the song better for me to just kind of like stick to the melody like initially intended, and let two other voices perform as like alongside and like with me, you know, rather than just me going like, you know,
yeah,
like Mariah Carey shit, you know.
But we love the Mariah Carey shit.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I will Mariah for you. I'll Mariah until the day is long.
Whatever the phrase is.
But it means that like that initial kind of like impact of like having like a wall of harmonies isn't something that's just kind of left to the record anymore, which is like super fantastic, and actually means that I can experiment with a lot more vocal shit. You know?
Yeah. And you mentioned your dad just then. I heard a story about you crowd surfing on your dad at a show.
Yeah.
What happened there?
It was our Delaire, it was the Not Punk Enough release show. So we went to this place called the Constitution in Camden, which I'm pretty sure we're not all going to be allowed back into. And they've got like it's an amazing spot. Like it's just this tiny little cavernous venue. It's like 50 people. There's like tiki shit like everywhere. So we kind of like covered all that up. And when I was a kid, I used to like climb stuff. I mean, I still climb stuff like as much as I can. I try and just like get up there. From trees to like speaker stacks, like I will just be up there. And I used to like climb up stuff and just say, "Catch me, Dad." And then he would just have to, because I would just like jump, or I would just like let myself go, because I was so used to him just being there. Maybe. So I'm starting to get into my psyche. Yeah. But I was just really so used to him, just like, if I jumped off something, he would just like get me. And one time I did it whilst I was hanging off like some high like monkey bars, and he was like the other side of the park. I was just like, catch me, Dad. And it's an anecdote in my family of like the ages, like my dad just sprinting across this park. And he got me, fine.
Fabulous.
Totally cool. So I did that at this show. He didn't know it was going to be happening. Obviously, he's a 50-year-old man now. And at the time, how old was I? 23 at the time. So I'm a lot bigger than I was back then. And he's a lot older than he was back then. But I grabbed this speaker cabinet and pulled it into the middle of the room. And I told this story. And then the look in my dad's face when I was telling the story, he was at the back of the room, just kind of like silently like nodding his head. The look in his face. And I remember like one of my mates, he walked up, one of my mates who was like a big lad. He was just like, help me. Like to him as he walks towards like the speaker cabinet. And then like when the drop came, I went, catch me, Dad. And I just like jumped like ass first, like into his head. And he got me.
Legends.
Yeah, that was it. So my dad's a legend. And to this day, he's never let me down in terms of catching me whilst I crowd surf.
Well done there.
Yeah,
luckily, now you have a lovely amount of fans to catch you when you crowd surf. So you can still shout, catch me, Dad, if you want, but there may be an amount of fans below you instead.
Maybe I'll say catch me, Daddy, instead. And see who comes out of the woodwork.
New Delaire merch. Catch me, Daddy.
Catch me, Daddy.
The thing is, that sort of stuff sells. So
Totally. Exactly. It's all marketing.
Exactly.
There you
Great
are.
minds.
Head of our PR. You're hired.
Love it. Sold. So obviously the second single you gave us was Locked for a Reason, and then you put out alongside it a home video kind of that was amazingly put together, that had so much raw emotion in it, and I guess really reflected the song. How do you come up with concepts like that?
Well, the idea for Locked was actually quite it had to be put together quite quickly. Like, we did have another idea for the video, but obviously considering lockdown, all of the plans had to change quite quickly. But actually, in terms of like the content of the song and like the lyrical context, it is about kind of, there's references to intrusive thought and to kind of like feeling quite isolated, and really kind of like beating yourself up over these things. And the idea of that happening in a bedroom actually works quite well. And often, like when the song was being written, where a lot of these kind of like thoughts and where these passages were written and felt in the first place. So it kind of rounded off in a way that was maybe truer to the song than like the original idea. Doing it on my Mac was kind of just because that's what I had like available to me, but I did like the idea of playing around with different filters and stuff like that, and kind of trying to give what is more like a comical air to quite like a serious message, and how that can, there's lots of ways to kind of interpret that as a statement, but I think that presenting yourself in a way that you don't truly feel is probably the best way to talk about it, because for a lot of people, and for me personally, I know it's a lot easier to talk about something traumatic or something difficult months after the fact. And there is this way of presenting yourself that that you feel comfortable and that is receptive to other people, so that they won't try and like prize that information from you. And these can be like your closest friends. It can be like your, people you've known for years. They know you as a certain way, and you can present yourself in that way until you feel comfortable about talking about this kind of stuff. And I actually feel like having those kind of like shit background filter kind of stuff while still presenting quite like a serious image couples that idea like quite well, and having like dizzy birds like over my head whilst I was like singing quite earnestly like to the camera. And I think the edit that Luigi did for like, he does like all of our video stuff, but I thought that that was amazing, and the cuts between some of the darker moments in the song, like when I'm like punching the bed and all that stuff. I'd never wanted them to be at the forefront of the video. Like I wanted them to be like glimpses into what feeling so disappointed in yourself can look like, because I feel it like all the time. And I got quite a few messages after it just being like, this is helped me realize that this isn't like an abnormal thing to feel like. And that was really powerful, actually. For me, that was like, I put it out as like a piece of, or presented it as like a piece of like self-expression, and people have reacted to it in a way that has made it kind of like a lot more kind of a communal, which is lovely, I think. But yeah, so to go back to your initial point, how do you come up with these kind of concepts? The concept was in the song. There's lots of different ways to kind of like interpret that. I think like you've always got to like work with what you have available to you, and I think that often you can find like a deeper meaning with like a restricted access of resource in a way that's kind of like true to how you're feeling at the time. You could like throw like fucking, if we had loads of money, if we had fucking loads of money, we could throw thousands and thousands of pounds of that video, and I don't think it would have been as pertinent or accurate as the video we made for it, you know? And that came out of like necessity. So I feel like a lot of these big ideas you can have them, think about them, and then like pull off like all of the frills and really get to like the true voice and the true meaning of the song. And we've been guilty often about kind of like making things too subtle when really and nuanced, because we've got so much kind of like greater meaning and context like that we already know that we're not giving to like the listener or the viewer. So I think you can afford to be a bit more kind of brash about it. So have the big idea and then fucking strip it to its bare necessities.
And that video is kind of very you guys. You're not a band that have all these big frills and side extras and kind of glitter. I mean, if you want to
I thought you were going to say,
on you,
you're not a band that has loads of money.
that'd be very harsh.
True.
That's every band right now, if we're going to be open honest. But this video really acted as an open forum for you guys, and you guys don't do masses of videos anyway. It's not like we're getting a video every release. So this was quite a nice open book, but that's very reflective of your music as well, because I see Delaire's music being a very like a open diary, an open forum of you and your situation. It's kind of what we've talked about with One of Us is the Killer and how people receive it and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it kind of like, it's like mutually beneficial to be as like as candid as you can, like at all times. I think, you see a lot of people trying to remain as distant as they can from their like from the fan base, or from like, just trying to give it like an air of mystery. And I get it as like a in terms of like a marketing kind of thing, leave the people wanting more. But also, I think that I've always valued being respected as a human.
You want people to be able to come and have a conversation with you and not be pulling you to sign something and running off, because at the end of the day, these bands that everyone aspires to be or loves going to see and everything are just real people behind a facade, or they're just straight up real people.
Yeah, totally. And I think that like, I think on the other end of that, or on the sliding scale, a lot of people don't recognize that the reason they associate with this person's music so much is because they felt those feelings themselves. Like the artist has felt those feelings themselves. Like particularly like in emo music, like it's in the fucking title, like emo music. It's people forget that there's a reason it's so like emotional. You know, is it like
Yeah,
sorry, I'm kind of like struggling to string this together.
it's fine.
But all they hear is the music rather than and feel that in themselves in a way that's kind of like they like it's relatable to them as music, but not from a point where like the musician has written it, and don't treat them like they struggle with the same things that they struggle with, you know? That's kind of like, yeah, there's kind of like two sides to it, I think. Anyway.
100%. So obviously I've got a few more questions, but if anyone watching has any questions, feel free to throw them below and we'll ask some nice ones, hopefully, if there are any.
What's my favorite pedal of all time?
If anyone can answer that, bonus point. I know I can't.
I'll ask it again for the people at the back. What's my favorite pedal of all time? First person to answer wins.
They're letting you down.
They're being very slow. Normally they're like,
nope.
answer it.
We don't do. And that is the mugging off.
Boss Metal Zone. Actually, I'll take that one. Nice one. Metal Zone.
This will just become a name a pedal and drink challenge, rather.
Name a pedal and drink.
Why not? So I guess the biggest problem for artists at the minute is kind of isolation itself, and it's pushing them in so many more ways to connect now, more than they ever were doing. It's letting them do moments like this, Zoom calls with new songs. The list goes on of new kind of ideas that people are coming out of the box with. Why do you think it's so important to do things like this rather than just sticking behind a go buy our music and say nothing else?
Well, I mean, something that we've always been like big advocates of is interacting with the people that are like invested in supporting your music. Like, and this kind of feeds back into what I was saying before, you know, people that can have this kind of like air of mystery about their band and refuse to acknowledge the people that are actively trying to engage, you know? I mean, for us, it's always been quite important, you know? I love, you know, the idea of like making something that someone like has on their wall, you know? I love that. It makes me like so happy. It makes me so happy. And we're like, before like pretty much every release that we've done, you know, we've created something that sent them out to people as like little mementos of what is ultimately a huge stepping stone in our career. Like ultimately it doesn't have to mean anything to them, you know, and they can just put it in the bin if they if they want.
I hope they're not doing.
Well, I mean, hopefully not. I mean, Mac, I think you've got like everything that we've ever done, ever. But yeah,
everyone's rooms just look the same now, apparently.
they just look, that is like the sickest thing for me ever. But I've always been like a big advocate of having that kind of interaction and making sure that the people that are investing in your band feel valued, and I really want them to, and I really kind of like hopefully they feel that, but like strive to achieve that. And this has kind of forced us into a position where I say forced us into a position, but like, you know, this is something that actually we really enjoy doing anyway, and now we're finding new ways to kind of like do it. I've never been very good at live streaming. I never live streamed before in my fucking life before this lockdown. I'd never like done sessions of stuff that were like decently recorded for them to be put up on. It's normally just like, if I do like a little cover or something, it'll just be on my phone. It'll be like a minute. And it's kind of like pushing us into this bracket of doing this. And it's like collaborating with, you know, yourself and like other kind of like magazines. And we're doing something with Dork in like this week where we're doing like a live session show thing,
the stay-at-home festival, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's
Nice.
really sick. Like, recorded like a couple of, yeah, it's just gonna be really fun time. It's gonna be a fun time, and I didn't know that I was capable of doing any of this shit. And with Mosh, yeah, obviously, and with
Yes, Mosh.
yes, Mosh, you know, and all of these collaborative efforts, like everyone's stuck in the same position, and it's really like it's offering more extended hands to like work with other people than we probably would have had if not the lockdown. And I feel very positive like about everything, just generally speaking. I love beer and I love making stuff and I like speaking to people. So I'm like, yeah, sick. All of this is going to be fine. All of this is going to be totally fine. But this is making me being creative in a way that like I wasn't prepared to, and trying to like learn it all fast. And I think that's a really valuable thing to have. Personally, did that answer the question? I can't remember what it was.
You did.
Yeah? Did I answer it like 5 times and then just keep repeating myself?
No, you gave us more and it was great.
Love you.
I guess with this all coming out of lockdown as well, creativity, this will encourage artists to keep the barrier down, not necessarily with you guys, but with other bands, and start interacting a bit more, because not everyone can come to a gig in central London on a weeknight. Not everyone can travel to Manchester. Music's such a global thing. You can have fans from anywhere in the world. I've recently been finding metal bands from Indonesia and things like that, because everything's so accessible with the internet, but people want to switch off to it, I feel, sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think that hopefully there will be this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the first show back is going to be fucking nuts.
Mates Fest.
It's going to be such a mates fest. And I did a tweet about this like recently, because I was feeling like I've got so much energy. Like, I've got so much energy, and there isn't, like, I'm at my parents' house at the minute, and like there isn't many places to like go. Like, we've got to like drive to like a field, and then I could just run around for a little bit. But I've got so much energy, and I don't know what to do with it. I started doing press-ups, man.
Yeah, I'm at my parents' as well, and nothing has driven me to that insanity yet.
Honestly, I'm eating like 4 bagels a day, and I'm doing press-ups, and then I drive to a field, and then I just run for a bit.
I might take a leaf out of your book.
No, I mean, don't do it. Just go start a punk band and let's go play some shows together.
I've got 2 acoustic guitars here. That's as heavy as I'm getting.
That's all you need, man. It's called folk punk. Let's go.
That's my new brand, folk punk.
Proud to catch me, daddy.
So, talking of music, have you found any fun music in lockdown?
You know what? Like, it's quite bad, because normally when I'm working on stuff, I like just tune out to. If I'm working on our own stuff, I like tune out to like loads of like new releases and music and stuff like that. Like, I get myself so focused on whatever we're doing, I just don't listen to anything else. And I've had like a bit of time to center myself and re-explore some stuff. But it's loads of stuff that I missed from since like 2019, like the Mannequin Pussy record Patience. I've just like been listening to consistently. I just think it's so good, and they're so good, and I love them so much. And I want them to be my friends. Is that weird?
No,
I don't think it's weird.
Wait, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. I want to be friends with Mannequin
Reach out
Pussy.
to
Is that so strange? And also, I love that Fontaine's DC have just put out a new single. I listened to that this morning. I thought that was fucking wicked. Obviously, Luke Rainsford, big up, gonna be dropping a new banger this Friday.
Can't wait for that.
Get up there. Get it up, yeah. And like Lizzie Farrell's record as well, I think is fucking
Banging
fantastic.
tunes.
So good. And what else have I been listening to? I mean, fucking Static Dress just continues.
Beauty.
They're live streaming right now.
Sorry, Static Dress.
Yeah. But I mean, they just continue to just bang. And I just think, yeah, there's so much kind of like good music that comes out like so consistently. It's actually kind of nice to have like a little bit of a break and there'd be some like space between releases because everyone's postponing and stuff like that. So it means you can kind of like set back into what you missed, like
Yeah.
the past kind of like couple of months or so. Or for me, the past year.
I guess there's a lot of nostalgia listening in general, though, because people aren't listening to those new releases. So they're going and finding the kind of stuff they were listening to a couple years ago. I went and made a playlist today of like the really awful stuff I used to listen to when I was 14, just to have a proper laugh at myself and how much my music taste has changed. But it is
how much has it actually changed? Go on,
massively.
Go on, give me the gossip.
So the playlist that I built was like, do you remember the band Ghost Town?
Ghost Town? No.
They were like American electro rock, sort of very scene kid sort of.
All right.
Stuff.
That's bang up my street, actually.
I don't know if it is. That and there's a band that Ben Bruce signed to his label he had for a year called Scare Don't Fear, who are rap metal, but like interesting rap metal.
Ooh. Rap metal's back, man.
I'm just gonna stop it there because like it just gets worse. There was a band called the Bunny the Bear who literally had a song called "It's a Long Way from the Esophagus to the Ovaries."
Which they were called Bunny the Bear.
Yeah, and it was a clean singer and a screaming singer, one in a bunny mask, one in a bear mask. Honestly, 2013 was wilding.
Oh god.
So yeah, exactly. But then obviously
right.
now there's this real great best of British scene that is so nice to be seen at the minute. You mentioned before Lizzie and Static Dress and you guys and Wargasm, like the list just never ends, and it's Lotus here, it's low. There's just this real beautiful scene at the minute where everyone kind of loves each other. There's so much support, and everyone's coming up and rising in it together, which is beautiful, wholesome.
Yeah, man. Play a fucking all day.
Let's do it.
All the bands.
That would be so good.
Well, good. I'll be pinging off the walls.
Literally. Where are you crowd surfing from? The bar or the stage or merch table?
Give me 5 points of crowd surf accessibility.
Is that what you do when you go in a venue? There's one. There's two.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to scope it out. A, for structural integrity. B, for accessibility. Those are the only two things that matter. And then the C comes later, and that's whether or not there's people to catch you.
Yeah, that's also a good point.
Yeah, and sometimes even when it looks like there is enough people to catch you, they won't catch you, which has happened to me a few times before as well.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, it has. But there was one time by accident, I got crowd surfed to, I'm not going to say which show it was, but I, against my own will, got picked up and involuntarily crowd surfed to the stage of a venue in London. And I was on the stage, and there was only one way down. And I had to do it. And I was trying to make people, no one was really moving that much, but I just had to tell them. There was barriers I'd jump over, like, I felt someone, like, grab my waist, like, as I jumped, because the vibe wasn't there. And I jumped, and I was not caught at all. I have never hit the deck so fucking hard in my life.
I'm so proud of you.
I am not. So at least someone is.
I mean, the one that sticks in my mind was Camden Rocks, that little room at Dingwalls, and you just jumping onto the sofa and then the table that really has no stability and nearly decking it and wiping us all out and then managing to regain your balance. And I still don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that either. But I've got to say, the structural integrity of that kind of added to the energy of the performance. Like the structural integrity of that table looked less than it was. I didn't fear for my life barely at all in that bit, in that time. Barely at all, apart from when I was clinging to the roof because I thought the table was going to collapse. That's like that's the only time that happened. But yeah, that was a fun show though. Camden rocks.
It was. And then speaking of other shows, you guys did Alex Baker's Fresh Blood at Old Blue only really a couple months ago, I guess. And that was a great show, had some real cathartic moments. But you ended on a very lovely My Chemical Romance cover.
Yeah.
Quite a statement little piece. So long and Mr. Goodnight. I assume that was planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Didn't put two and two together, to be honest, till after.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, like, me and Joey had been talking about doing a My Chem, like, covers set for ages. Like, just for fucking... for ages. And it was kind of like, it turned into like a little bit of a thing on Twitter, and that was like, cool. But it feels like... And no one knew that that was Joey's last show with us, with me, I suppose. So we had the conversation. We were just like, right, we've got to fucking at least do one. And then Helena, you know, So Long Goodnight seems pretty apt, I thought. And is also a complete fucking rager. But it was just nice, you know, that wasn't like, we were talking about making an announcement like on the night, but we were just like, no, we'll just like enjoy the show. There were people in the room that knew that it was Joey's last show, like friends and family and stuff like that. But we didn't want to make a huge kind of like deal out of it. We just wanted to play one last song that we both fucking loved, like, and we did, and it was like really fucking special. Like the whole fucking room was just absolutely screaming. Like as soon as we started doing it, Jesus Christ! Like the look, because I couldn't see much, but the glint in people's eyes as soon as we started playing Helena, it was like, yeah, sick. And that was the first and only time that Joey has crowd surfed in the history of this band.
Iconic. Like
I had, because we were talking about it, and I was like, "God, fucking do it!" Like it was like that. I was like, "Fucking go now!" And he did, and it was amazing. But yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and one of my favorite shows actually. It was a really lovely thing. That was the first time we played with Wargasm, and Bitch Falcon were fucking sick as well.
So
and
good.
It, like, yeah, it was just a class evening.
Such a mates fest again, like
totally
beautiful night, and again a great representation of the British scene right now. And I guess that song was just a beautiful way to end the night. It did take me a good minute to realise the So Long and Good Night shirts, and I was like, oh, I feel like a bit of a fake My Chem fan seeing that.
I framed those. I gave them to Joey.
Oh,
sad, isn't it?
Melting everyone's hearts.
Like, a load of the stuff that we like had made to like send out. I like got them all in a frame and like posted them all down, like from the first like Christmas cards and stuff. Like hopefully he's got them somewhere. Hopefully. I'd be annoyed if he put that in the bin. I've got to say, Joe, if you watch it,
I think he did join at some point. If he's still here, well done.
He did join at some point. Yeah,
I guess now though it's the new chapter for you guys post lockdown and whenever this clears up, and hopefully new music at some point. I know everyone will be asking when they can expect it, and it's one that bands can never answer. You're not allowed to. But if you had to describe a potential new direction in 5 words, how would you do it?
A potential new direction in 5 words.
I'm getting no one into trouble.
All right. Okay. So the first word is bass.
M.
First word is bass. Yeah. Second word is M.
Third word, jazz.
Jazz. Okay. M and Chaz are obvious, so I'll keep bass. I'll leave them. I think. dense. I'm saying dense. Big.
I thought you were about to say bear, and I was like, all right.
Beer? Beer. 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 And fuzz pedal. Yes! Yeah. It's been interesting because I'm not sure how much I can say. But so I love my fuzz pedal. But Chaz keeps telling me to turn the gain down. I know you're watching, Chaz. I can see you comment. He's telling me to turn the gain down on everything. And I'm like, no.
Because you love your what?
Because I love my fuzz pedal. He does have a valid reason, though. I don't need as much fuzz now that we have bass. But also, I just love the fuzz pedals, you know? Yeah, so that, what did I say? I said beer, bass. Beer, wait, I'll see if I can condense it all into B's. Beer, bass, big, bouncy, fuzz pedal.
That's not a B.
I couldn't do it. Fuzz gives you buzz. All right, say that.
Fuzz gives you buzz.
Fuzz gives you buzz. Let's go. Yes, that's all I got.
So basically, there's going to be a beer called Fuzz Pedal or Buzz Pedal.
Buzz pedal.
Buzz Pedal
Maybe.
Bevs.
You know, it's funny. The shop I work for, they have their own fuzz pedal company called Color Sound, and they made a fuzz pedal. I've said it like called the Bum Fuzz Unit.
I just know this is going to sound so grim when editing because I've got these headphones and you're just going to hear my drink every time.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Interesting. So I guess unless anyone in the comments has any questions, unless they're just going to shout Fuzz Pedal.
Non-fuzz related questions only.
What have you been watching on Netflix?
Oh. Right, okay. So things have obviously there's all the rages at the minute, fucking Tide King and all that, but no, not interested. Right, I've just recently discovered this anime called Blue Exorcist, and it fucking rocks.
Okay.
Alright? Blue Exorcist. That's it. That, and they uploaded all of, does it have to be on Netflix?
No, we'll let you off.
Okay. New Girl. I've been rewatching
Great.
New Girl on Amazon Prime. And The American Office. But yeah, Blue Exorcist and also The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan thing. I didn't realize how into basketball I was. I'm super into basketball, man. Space Jam played a huge part in my younger years. Don't always believe myself.
I love it. So we'll see you on the basketball courts after this then.
That's it. I fuck with MJ. Me and it. No, wrong. The different. The other one.
Yeah, I was going to say, different
The other
people.
one. Not that one. Can you edit that out?
No. I could if I wanted to.
I haven't seen The Fundamentals of Caring, but that is pertinent to my interests. Caring, and fundamentals.
I'm really hoping that the film is like the title. You know, sometimes you get those ones that aren't.
Oh yeah, the old misnomers. No, I don't fuck with that. Alright, sorry. I'm low back.
So, guess we'll let you go. Oh, your one interest is caring, apparently.
It's true. It's true. That and fuzz pedals. Get him! Alright, my beer's gone.
Yeah, mine Yeah, same. It's virtually gone anyway. I guess we'll leave you on that very lovely note. If people want to find
not before you finish your beer, your Strongbow.
It's not Strongbow, it's fake Strongbow.
What is it? What do you mean fake Strongbow?
It's Magnus.
That's even better. That's be going down easy.
Okay, 1 second. This is gonna be a mess.
Done it.
I love peer pressure.
I can only go so high.
It's done anyway, don't worry.
It's done.
Yeah.
Legend.
I opened it fresh for this live stream.
Yeah, me too. Fair. I mean, it's been going 45 minutes. That's to be honest, I'm a little embarrassed. I should have brought another one up with me.
Well, we'll have to let you go so you can have another beer. But if people want to find you, if they don't already follow you, where can they find you after this live stream?
DelaireTheLiar.com. No, we don't have a .com. There is no other band in the world that's called our band's name. I assume. Because why would they do that to themselves? Delaire the Liar at Delaire the Liar. DelairTheLiar.
Part of me was wanting for you to spell that wrong then.
Honestly, I was counting on myself spelling it wrong. I really thought it was going to happen. But I can do it again. I'm a spelling bee champion. Go on, give me another word.
Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia.
No.
Fuck. Alright.
We tried.
Nah.
And on that note, enjoy the rest of your evening. If you aren't already following our lovely faces, please do on Turn Up Louder and Delaire the Liar respectively. And come tune in to Finn's live stream on a Monday at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah, big time.
And then we're live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. changing different bands every week. So if you've got any suggestions, send them us. We'll talk to anyone. See you later.
Way to cheapen the deal. What the fuck?
You were specially selected, obviously. Don't worry.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.